Hey guys, my name is Demario Malone. This is my presentation. I have some notes beside me and some notes on the computer, so I'm going to be looking back and forth, so just bear with me. So let's jump right into it. The subject level is 11th grade. The content area is English and Language Arts, ELA. The topic that I chose to address was Macbeth, which is one of my favorite stories. The content area standards that I chose to address is RL 11.1. Which is cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly, as well as inferences drawn from the text, including determining where the text leaves matters uncertain. I also chose to address 11.2 RL, which is define themes or central ideas of a text and analyze in detail the development over the course of the text, including how details of a text interact and build on one another to produce a complex account. Provide an accurate summary of the text based on this analysis. I have three texts. The first text, of course, is Macbeth, my anchor text, and that's written by Shakespeare and revised by Bloom. The grade level is upper grades 9 through 12, and I retrieved that information from AR Bookfind. My second text, my supporting text, one of them was Study and Revise for Macbeth, which is just like a simplified version of Macbeth, and it kind of gives vocabulary. It's like a study guide type thing. It gives vocabulary words and like breaks down and simplifies some of the hard language, because we all know that Macbeth has some difficult language. The third text that I had, my supporting text, was written by Garcia and Kaplan, and it's called Beautiful Creatures, and it kind of has some of the same themes that Macbeth has, so that's why I chose that text. So moving on to my vocab choices, the 10 words, I had a total of 10 words, of course. The first concept that I chose was important was the concept of ambition. And I chose this because it's a recurrent and important theme that helps assist in shaping the entire play of Macbeth. The second word or a concept was the concept of fate and free will, and I also chose this because it's a recurrent and important theme that assists in shaping the whole play of Macbeth. The third is the concept of violence, and I also chose that because of the same reason. It's recurrent and important theme that assists in shaping the play. And I chose the concept also, fourth, the concept of natural and the unnatural, which I chose that for the same reason. It helps assist in shaping the play of Macbeth. The fifth word, which I chose for the same reason, is the concept of manhood. The sixth one I chose was the concept of kingship, and I chose this because it displays the difference between the appropriate use of power and tyranny, and it also is a key theme that helps assist in shaping the play. The seventh word that I chose was visions, and I chose this because it represents the extensions of the guilty conscience in Macbeth, and it is a key motive that supports the major themes of the play. The eighth word I chose or concept was, let me get to it, light and darkness, and this represents innocence and evil in Macbeth, which is a key motive, and it supports a major theme of the play. Number 9, I chose blood, and I chose this because it represents the evil plans and consequences of the overreaching ambition, which is a major theme in Macbeth, and it is a key motto that supports the play as well. And my final word that I chose was sleep, and I chose this because it displays a natural process, and it's like how it's disrupted, which is caused by the fracture of the moral order, and it also is a key motive that supports the major themes of the play. And I'm sorry I'm sniffing so much. I'm kind of under the weather. I apologize. The vocabulary strategy that I chose, that I wanted to use and teach was, just keeping it simple and just using context clues. And, like just looking at the words around the supporting words. Looking at the word that you're trying to define and looking at the supporting words around it. And research by Nagy and Scott in the 2000s showed that students can benefit by using contextual analysis to infer meaning of a word by looking closely at the surrounding text. So, just looking at what's around the word and, gathering your understanding by doing that. My luminary passages, I'm just going to read a couple samples because some of them are really long. I'm just going to read number 3 because it's the shortest one that I have in section 3. Let me get to it. This comes from Macbeth in Act 5 and Scene 5, and it states, "She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time in such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this pretty face from day to day, to the last syllable of a recorded time, and all our yesterdays have alighted fools. The way to dusty death, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." And I chose this because we're going to decode it to understand how it lends to promoting the overall comprehension of the result of one of the play's most important themes, which is unchecked ambition. So in layman's terms, it just shows like how unchecked ambition brings about disaster for Macbeth. Discussion questions and my critical thinking levels. Let's get to that. My first question was, number 1, the play begins with thunder and lightning and 3 witches make an entrance. Tell what that reveals about the play, and that's Bloom's first level, which is knowledge. Number 2, name who Scotland was fighting. That's Bloom's first level also, which is knowledge. Number 3, interpret what the witches meant when they stated fair is foul and foul is fair. That's Bloom's second level, which is comprehension. Number 4, what do the 3 witches predict for Banquo? Describe the irony within its prediction. That's Bloom's second level also, which is comprehension. Number 5, compare and contrast some examples of the concept of fate and free will in Macbeth and Beautiful Creatures. Explain those types of how those examples exemplify fate and free will. That's Bloom's fourth level, which is analysis. For the second section, number 1, name who says the following. Their candles are all out, take that too. A heavy summons lies like bleed upon me, and yet I will not sleep. That's Bloom's first level, knowledge. Number 2, regarding the quote from question 1, describe what is significant about the quote. That's Bloom's second level, comprehension. Number 3, Macbeth says, I am in blood, stepped in so far that I should weigh it no more. Interpret what he has meant by that quote. That's Bloom's second level, comprehension. Number 4, describe why Macbeth wants Banquo and Fleance dead. This is Bloom's second level, comprehension. Number 5, compare and contrast some of the examples of the concept of natural and unnatural in Macbeth and Creatures. Explain how those examples exemplify the natural and unnatural. It's Bloom's fourth level, analysis. And for the last section, list 3 aberrations made by the witches. This is Bloom's first level, knowledge. Number 2, describe what the nurse and the doctor see. That's Bloom's second level, comprehension. Number 3, interpret what Lady Macbeth means when she says, out damn spot, out I say, how will these hands never be clean? Bloom's second level, comprehension. Number 4 is discuss why, according to the doctor, is Lady Macbeth walking in her sleep. That's Bloom's second level of comprehension. And finally, number 5, compare and contrast some examples in light and darkness in Macbeth and Beautiful Creatures. Explain how these examples exemplify light and darkness. And that's Bloom's fourth level of analysis. Excuse me. And my research-based comprehension strategy is, just keeping it simple again and using the read aloud strategy. And I plan to use this with my luminary passages as well. So number 1, I will select the appropriate, engaging, and student-friendly text. Number 2, I'll read aloud. I'll volunteer. I'll start reading first, and then, I can assign students to read, or maybe we can do popcorn reading, or students can be assigned different sections, maybe alphabetical order. Number 3, during certain passages, we will pause, to check for comments and concerns, and to check how good they're understanding what is being read. And number 4, finally, we will reread the sections to help gain a better understanding of what was read the first time. And my writing strategy that I wanted to do is it's one of my favorites, and it's called relay reading. And I actually did this before myself. You know, I split my class into 3 to 5 students, like groups of 3 or 5, and and give them a writing prompt. And then you begin with one student from each group writing on their own. After 5 minutes have passed, that student passed the paper to the next student, and he or she begins writing where the student left off. And you just continue with this for a set period of time until everything is done. And this is like a good exercise for encouraging students to learn and benefit from each other ideas and varied writing styles. And maybe we can do this, like when we're trying to understand like the concept of the word and like during the vocabulary stages. So this is my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you for listening.